and certification of quorum.
Here.
Councilwoman Simpson.
Here.
Councilmember Wilson.
Here.
Mayor Skipworth.
Here.
Councilmember Brantley.
Here.
Councilmember Decker.
Here.
Councilmember Linton.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Moving on to item 2, the invocation. If you would please rise. Councilman Simpson, would you please lead us in the invocation?
Let us pray. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, we thank you for this opportunity to gather once again in your name, Lord God. We ask for a blessing upon the citizens of this great city, the elected officials, the staff, this county, this state, and this great nation. Allow this to be an effective and efficient meeting, and your will be done. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Councilman Wilson, would you lead us in the pledge of allegiance?
American flag, please. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you. We have 2 proclamations this evening. One is on the agenda and the other is not. So if I'll deliver the first proclamation, though I seem to only have the certificates here. Okay, got it. Sorry, my mistakes. Let me come up to the front. All right. So we have, actually, let's begin with we have the DWAC proclamation. If all of y'all here for that would please come up here to the front. How's it going? Good. All right. So we will, we'll read this one off. Okay. And I have some certificates for y'all as well when we're done. So, okay. A proclamation. Whereas the Dickinson Youth Action Council was established by the City Commission of the City of Dickinson on April 3rd, 2021, and is comprised of teenagers between the ages of 15 and 18, advocating on behalf of young people in Dickinson. Whereas the Dickinson Youth Action Council's mission is to build a culture of active citizenship within our local community through pillars of service learning, action civics, and youth-led advising to provide robust representation, for the youth of Dickinson. Whereas the Youth Action Council aims to provide opportunities for youth service and development, participation in various volunteer activities, and to offer young people a means for their voices to be heard in local government decision-making process. Whereas the students selected serve on council through the duration of their high school years, with the terms expiring upon graduation. During their term, they plan and host events, lend their voices when it matters, and prove why the power of having youth at the table is integral in making our city a better place. Now, therefore, I, Sean Skipworth, Mayor of the City of Dickinson in the great state of Texas, do hereby proclaim May 9th, 2023 as Dickinson Youth Action Council Day. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Dickinson, Texas to be affixed this 9th day of May, 2023. If you'd please join them in a round of applause. Thank you. And we'll call them out by name and do the certificates here. So first we have Ruthie Rubick, if you would, please. There you go. You're very welcome. And next we have Grace. There you are, ma'am. And we have Kayla. Yep, over there. You're welcome. We also have Ashley. She is not here tonight. Would someone want to take this on her behalf? Okay. We have, is it Jadine? Jaden, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I do this all, I get the names wrong all the time. Apologize. Let's see. And we have, is it Olivia? Olivia. Golly. Okay. You're welcome. And Kennedy as well. Thank you. Also, Sarah Smith. Hi. There you are. I know you're going to shake my hand or take the okay. Isabel. There you are. Thank you. And lastly, we have Kenzie. There you are, man.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right. Can you please give them one more round of applause? And I think they want to do a picture as well. So where do you do it? Sure. Yeah, show your.
All right, on three. 1, 2, 3. One more. 1, 2, 3.
Look forward to seeing you on the
Thank
guest.
you. Thank you.
All right. And we have one other proclamation this evening. As I said, it was not on the agenda, but it's definitely one that kind of hits close to home for us here in the city. So a proclamation. Whereas Americans are served every single day by public servants at the federal, state, county, and city levels. These unsung heroes do the work that keeps our nation working. Their tireless efforts are especially critical today during the COVID-19 pandemic. Whereas public employees take not only jobs, but oaths. Whereas many public servants, including military personnel, police officers, firefighters, border patrol officers, embassy employees, healthcare professionals, and others risk their lives each day in service to the people of the United States and around the world. Whereas public servants include teachers, doctors, and scientists, train conductors and astronauts, nurses and safety inspectors, laborers, computer technicians, social workers, local government employees, and countless other occupations. Day in and day out, they provide the diverse services demanded by the American people of their government with efficiency and integrity. And whereas, without these public servants at every level, continuity would be impossible in a democracy that regularly changes its leaders and elected officials. Now, therefore, I, Sean Skipworth, Mayor of the City of Dickinson, do hereby announce and proclaim to all citizens and set seal hereto that May 7th through the 13th is Public Service Recognition Week. In witness thereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Dickinson, Texas, to be affixed this 9th day of May, 2023. Can you please thank our public servants here in our city and others as well? All right, we'll move on to item 5, announcements and presentations. Announcements concerning items of community interest. No action will be taken or discussed. Council member comments regarding items of community interest in accordance with Texas Government Code, Section 551.0415. Item 5A, council comments. We'll begin with Councilwoman Simpson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight in person and online. We appreciate your time and your input. I had the pleasure of attending the Bayou Animal Services fundraiser, the Black Tie Texas Gala, on Saturday at the Dickinson Bayou Ranch. I had a wonderful time meeting and greeting with other supporters of the shelter and enjoyed live music and auction items. Great job to all of those individuals who helped to make that event a success. The Buccaneers on the Bayou Pirates Boat Parade is going on Saturday, May 13th between 4 and 6. I want to invite you to join in the fun with your boat or get into a public viewing area to see the boat parade pass by. The Dickinson Youth Action Council is hosting their first event called Summer to Serve Youth Kickoff, where we connect young people to community service opportunities in their area. There will be live music, food trucks, and a cornhole contest, as well as vendors from our community partners with volunteer opportunities for youth. If you'd like to attend, please RSVP for free. You can find the link on the city Facebook page and the city website. Also, if you're someone with a volunteer opportunity to present, please connect with me so we can see how you can become involved. Thank you.
Thank you. And next will be Councilman Wilson.
I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. I'd like to start off by saying I'd like to congratulate Officer Tony Valdez, who just recently retired from the Dickinson Police Department. After 26 years of service to the police department and the city of Dickinson. Hope he enjoys his retirement. I'm pretty sure he was well deserved. It's hard for departments to keep officers that long at times, but we seem to have kept quite a few of them for that length of time. Hopefully it'll continue going forward. I'd also like to personally thank the candidates that ran for office, for the mayor's office, council's office, and everything else. And it's a lot of time and effort put forward, to make your government run better. And then I'd like to also personally congratulate the winners, Mayor Skipworth, Councilman Simpson, Councilman-elect Townsend, and Councilman-elect Bill Schick. Looking forward to seeing y'all take over and have your turn at bats. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next up, Councilman Brantley.
Good evening. Thanks to everybody who's here. Thanks for everybody who's attending online. Just a few things this evening. I had the privilege and honor of attending the Black Tie Texas event put on by Bayou Friends Forever to benefit Bayou Animal Services. The folks that volunteer with Bayou Friends Forever did a phenomenal job. That was a fantastic event that was held at Dickinson Bayou Ranch, which is a beautiful piece of property. And for anybody that's here with Bayou Friends Forever, you guys did a fantastic job. Thank you very much for such a great event. I would also like to recognize and I can't ever say this word right, the Dickinson Reveliers. They attended this past weekend, they attended the state competition, and they did a phenomenal job. So very proud of them for their hard work and your accomplishments in representing Dickinson. Thank you very much. We do have Miss Kensington Bass here tonight, who attended the state with the Dickinson Reveliers. So Mr. Wilson, Councilman Wilson, you kind of stole my thunder, but I do want to thank all the candidates that ran for office. As I've said many times during the election, I know it's a very difficult thing to put yourself out there. And I appreciate everyone that ran. And I do also want to say congratulations. Congratulations, Mayor. Congratulations, Councilman Simpson. And congratulations to Councilman-elect Bill Schick and Councilman-elect Mark Townsend. I look forward to working with you. Let's see. Last thing. Staff recognition this week. It is Public Servants Week. So this week I wish they were all here, but I'd like to recognize Alexis Santiago and all of the public works staff for the work that you guys do. You guys do a fantastic job. So kind of singling out Alexis, but it's really for all the public works staff and the job that you do. So thank you all very much. That's all I got, Mayor. Thanks.
All right, thank you. Councilman Decker.
Thank you. Glad to see all faces new and the usual. I have one thing. Public Works gave Hughes Road a face cut. Cut the grass, cut the ditches, weed eated. It's remarkable. It's just a different road. Thank y'all.
And next up, Councilman Linton.
Good evening, everybody, Mayor, Council. I attended the Dickinson Chamber of Commerce luncheon. I also attended Black Tie Texas and wanted to congratulate Bayou Friends Forever. That is one of the nicest events I've been to in a long time. However, I'm not a social butterfly, but nevertheless, it was an awesome event, and it was done for a great cause to help the shelter. I hope that they do it again, but hats off to the folks that put that together. Just an amazing event. I also attended Market on the Bayou held by the Dickinson Chamber of Commerce. I'm currently evaluating the building permitting process, including the creation of an account on MyGov and opening permits for some work I'm doing on my house. Once done, I'll provide a brief synopsis during my council comments, and hopefully it'll be along the lines of building permits can be your friend. I contacted Union Pacific Railroad hotline about the grade crossing at 517 again. This is a rough crossing requiring traffic to slow down significantly. Repairs have been made many times over the past few years with a return to the same condition within approximately 3 months each time. A long-term solution is preferred if possible. Please let me know if there's anything that can be done to help facilitate a long-term solution. Thank you very much. I have now been submitting requests every week since December 12th of last year. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And Councilman Simpson.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Welcome, everybody. Happy Public Servants Week. I also want to extend kudos to the Bayou Friends Forever for the work that they did with Black Tie Texas. Also want to say kudos to all who ran and congratulations to those who won. When you lose, say little, and when you win, say even less. But I do want to thank everyone that helped with the campaign, that block walked, that called, that did all the things to help me secure another term, especially my campaign manager, Mandolin Salazar. I always say I don't want to be number 7 because she's done like 40 campaigns and only lost 6. But thank you to everyone that did that. I also have some bittersweet news. I was just recently informed that July 1st, I'm going to be assigned to a different church other than Dickinson Faith United Methodist Church. However, I'm changing my place of employment. I'm not changing my city of residence. I'm changing my place of employment. I'm not changing my city of residence. And that'll be all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And I'd also like to welcome everyone here this evening. We have a good crowd. I'll echo everyone else about the charity event the other Friday. It was excellent. The board did a wonderful job putting it together. I also like to throw a shout out to the Dickinson Bayou Ranch and Skylar Cornelius in particular for putting that on. He's always very generous to open up his home for different community events, and they really did do a great job. Loved it, and got to meet Trey from the Faye from American Idol, so that was good too. So I enjoyed that, and it was a good event for the animal shelter. I'd also like to congratulate Councilman-elect Townsend and Councilman-elect Schick on your election. I'd also like to, and I guess I'll congratulate you too, Johnny, over there. And I'd like to say, I thank you to the citizens of Dickinson for your support and for helping me to serve for another term. And who knows, my hair could be completely white in 3 years, so we'll see how that goes. But I do want to thank you all for that. And I want to also echo what was said about Public Works. Having campaigned for the last 2.5 months, there is no way whatsoever that probably myself or Johnny or anyone would have gotten reelected if not for the great work that our staff has done. I've run for office a few times now, and we've kind of transitioned from running where people were really down on Public Works and upset about the amount of work that got done, the time, the treatment with staff. And I have seen it change markedly throughout this being the 3rd campaign consecutively, that people were much more complimentary of Public Works, that noted that they had seen progress and work get done. And that's really a testament to our staff. Really, they are the ones that do the work. We're the ones that make the plans, but they're the ones that have to execute it. And we've really come a really long way with the staff. So I want to congratulate all of y'all and thank you for your service to the city. So thank you. And with that, we will move
Mayor?
on to.
Sorry to interrupt. I had one last thing. I apologize for
Sure.
that.
What do you got?
You're complaining about gray hair. At least you have hair, sir. Real quick, Premier Martial Arts this Saturday is going to have some free workshops for the community, including female self-defense and self-defense for children. So if you're interested, just check their website out. Sorry about that. Thank you very much.
No worries. All right, we'll move on to item 5B, the city manager update.
Mayor, council, thank you very much. I wanted to run you through a few things, just give you some status updates. West Gum Bayou drainage improvement. We are expected to close out that project this month, and that's a lot of the drainage improvements that were along the backside of the high school, along Ray Holbrook Park. That's about a $4.2 million project that we're about to bring to closure. Also wanted to kind of give you an update on a couple of our projects that we submitted for on the such as like Moore's Addition siphon project that would take us to Benson Bayou. For those of you that remember, we were looking at, and we received in our method of distribution, thanks to the work of former council member King, as well as the work of council member Simpson, to secure $15.2 million of that method of distribution for us to do drainage work. And so we highlighted the Moore's Addition siphon project for that. And I wanted to give you the update that we are hoping to get a final response in regard to our, that we answered their request for invitations, RFIs. We're expecting a response in June for us to execute a contract by the end of the year. Another project that's in the same boat would be our HMGP TDM projects. We have one that would be continuing part 2 of the West Gum project. This would be about a $7.6 million application for funding, which would include 3,000 feet of channel widening and 65 acre feet of detention. We submitted that application back in June of 22. We received an RFI back in March and we've returned it. And so now we're just waiting for FEMA for final consideration on that project. At this time, hoping to have that under contract by the end of the year if FEMA sees fit. On the Benson Bayou project, just on that portion alone, Benson Bayou would be about a $9.2 million project. So when you're looking at between the second half of West Gum, Benson Bayou, Moore's Addition, siphoning, then if you look at our Hughes Road, diversionary canal, West Gum Bayou, several other projects right now between projects currently underway, those that have been funded and awaiting to break ground, and those that have been applied for and that we're actually in the stage of decision of award. We're sitting somewhere in the neighborhood of over $85 million in funding from outside sources to help us with our resiliency projects. So just want to keep you up to date on that. Also, we're currently working on, just wanted to let you know that we recently had a Dickinson Bayou Watershed Committee boat tour. And the reason I wanted to bring this one up from April 22nd is that we had our engineering firm, Hewitt Zollers, who was a part of that. And is kind of, we're looking at a regional answer to a lot of the watershed issues. In fact, the Texas City mayor was on that boat tour, and we had some good conversations there between the engineer and some of the players of League City and Texas City to talk about how can we regionally work on our development plan so that we're not impacting downstream, i.e. Dickinson, in our sister cities. On May 17th, I'll be meeting with HGAC. I believe Councilmember Simpson will be in that meeting as well. And that will be kind of opening the discussions for, would HGAC be willing to be a funding source for the Farm to Market 1266 expansion project that we've been working on for a little while, and hoping that they would fund that. We are preparing for ICSC. We have numerous people from the EDC, City Council, as well as people in the community with various stakeholder positions who will be attending. We have several developers that we're setting up meetings with, as well as individual businesses that are looking at possibly moving to not just the Houston area, but Dickinson specifically. And so along the lines of economic development, I wanted to let council know at the building standards meeting, we had our, I guess you could say a private partner in regard to helping with the redevelopment of the Creekside properties and kind of surrounding areas, who presented a preliminary concept, providing an update to the Building Standards Commission about a preliminary concept of a town center. It was really to show good faith on our private sector partner side of things. That's Colcon Capital and their partners, that the memorandum of understanding where the city and the EDC are working with Colcon Capital, who owns Creekside, that we're all working toward the redevelopment of Creekside, but also maybe some of the surrounding properties as well. Along the way, there's been insinuations that Creekside was targeted, that the ownership group was targeted to be pushed out of town, which is an unfounded claim. If you look at the conditions from the Building Standards Commission, the conditions were deplorable. They were deleterious to human health, and so much so that the first attorney representing Colcon Capital, as well as ownership as well, agreed that the standards were poor. And so staff worked diligently. Council provided support to help along the way. and the owners of Creekside have stepped up to the plate by hiring a team of consultants to provide a snapshot of their conceptual ideas. Some of those ideas include retail, hotel, conference center, and because of David Wallace's background in working on the Sugar Land Town Center, he had in his concept like anchoring like municipal services there. Those things, we're talking about a concept that's years in the future, not today, but it was an idea to show what could be done on the I-45 corridor. So we're kind of working through those dealings. So I wanted to keep y'all updated on that, on what's going on at the building standard side of things. And lastly, I'm very happy to say that we are about to wrap up the audit for fiscal year 21. Now, for those of you who've been, keeping track of, SCORE, we're in 2023. And so we hadn't closed FY21. And I did want to give a little bit of history to that. So in a prior administration, we were having issues of commingling of funds, not fraud, not taking of money, but what we had was a commingling of federally mandated funds for projects along with our general fund and street fund. And so what was going on is that leadership was taking funding that would say should have been only funded by, say, the city funds, but was taking money out of bank accounts that had federal funding in it, commingling those funds to build the road. And then they would put the money, take city money to then replenish the federal funding. And so Belt Harris, who is our auditor, did a phenomenal job with the FY20 audit, really trying to untie that Gordian knot of commingled funds of the financial management of that administration. So it took a really long time to get that FY20 audit done. They presented that just a couple of months ago, a few months ago. So I wanted to let you know that we are about to, we're aiming for June to be presenting the FY21 audit. Tonight we have as an item an audit firm for FY22 that's not Belt Harris. The reason for that is because under our charter, an audit firm can't do more than 5 audits in a row. And so we had to go out for RFP, and that's why you have an audit, an audit firm here tonight. So our goal is to have FY21 audit presented in June, the FY22 audit with the new firm for November or December of this year, and then audit FY23 to audit the current fiscal year that we're in right now for March of 2024, which would put us right back on track with where we need to be for audit. So I'm very proud to say that we worked with our auditors and that we're getting back on track and getting back to where we need to be on the audit calendar. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to item 6, public comments. Members of the public are invited to give comments at this time, lasting not longer than 3 minutes. Comments may be general in nature or may address a specific agenda item and should be directed at the entire council, not individual members of council or staff. Any speaker making personal attacks or using vulgar or profane language shall forfeit his or her remaining time and shall be seated. In compliance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, the city council may not deliberate. Our first person signed up is Dean Dellery.
.650 North FM 646. We're the tract of land just south of Dickinson Bayou. We came to you guys a couple of years ago looking to do boat and RV storage. And I'm here tonight to discuss, as you guys probably are well aware of.
They can't hear you. You need to speak up.
Is this better?
Speak up, please. They can't hear.
We're here tonight to discuss the reimbursement request that we submitted about 4.5 months ago. And it's unfortunate that I have to come up here tonight and speak publicly about this matter, but due to the lackluster responses we've received from the city, here we are for an issue that should be fairly straightforward in black and white. If we rewind the tape a little bit, there was overwhelming amount of support for this back in October of 2021 when we received the SUP. So what did we do? We went out and bought land. We hired architects and engineers and paid big time city permit fees. And then 11 months later, we were shut down. And so, of course that's frustrating to us. And it's frustrating when we hear the city attorney say, well, that's part of the process when you're trying to develop with an SUP. My response to that is, really? is that the precedent? Is that the reputation you guys want to show for small and medium-sized businesses that want to come enhance this town? Are you guys only doing stuff with the big guys at ICSC? On top of that, we really never heard a really good response. There were a lot of things said about why you guys shut us down, but we never really heard constructive feedback on why you shut us down. Of course, this is the highest and best use for this piece of land, right? I mean, we've talked to developers you guys are actively working with, and they told us that. We worked super diligently with the city. We talked to multiple different parties there was a big issue about fire, right? Everyone wanted to talk about fire. And, we talked to multiple parties about that. We hired a third-party engineer on our own dime, and we implemented that stuff in our actual city plans. And so, of course, that's frustrating. Another thing that's frustrating to us is, I'm sure you guys have seen, is that we can't get any developers interested in this project, in this piece of land, because they've heard about the decision that City Council made. And it wasn't just that City Council shut us down and changed their minds a year later, but, they accepted $30,000 of city permit fees 5 weeks before they shut us down. And so if you're us, how can you not help but think that you guys, if you were building up a coalition to shut this down weeks or even months before you actually did it, that you took our 30 grand and weren't planning to do anything with it to begin with? I certainly hope that's not the case. I don't think you guys are malicious. I just think it's probably, the administrative staff and the strategic staff maybe weren't talking to each other, and that was a mistake that was made. But if that's the case, that mistake should be fairly obvious and we should be reimbursed our funds. So I just wanted, my parting thought is guys, we're not going anywhere. We're going to fight for this money, and we're going to fight to get a seat at the table with you guys to start having these conversations. Thank you.
Thank you. And next we have Matt Werner.
Matt Werner, 650 FM 646. I don't need to take all the time today. I just want to echo everything that Dean Dellery said, that we, bought this land and made a lot of investment on our own dime based on a decision by the council to grant the SUP, and that money is now, worthless, and the plans are worthless, and we're just simply asking for a reimbursement of the fees that we paid to the city right before the SUP was revoked. So, thank you.
Thank you. And we have one other person signed up. I'm be honest with you, and I have terrible handwriting myself, so don't take this as a judgment. I'm having a little bit of trouble reading your handwriting. Do you know who else signed? Was it Williams? Charles Williams? Now, there's an agenda item for you. Do you want to speak now, or do you want to speak when we get to that agenda item? So we have an agenda item, I think, concerning your property.
Yeah.
Do you want to speak now, or would you like to speak when we get to that agenda item?
You don't matter.
You want to go and speak now?
Sit down here.
Go right ahead. Just give us your address, please.
All right. Look here, out there on 2608 Highway 3, I had a house out there. I doing no work in y'all. So Mr. Jill and Mr. Ray, the one y'all had here, they come along and told me they demolition old houses on the highway, all old houses. He said, well, we're going to demolish your. I said, I don't need your demolition. I said, if I got demolition, I'm a demolition man. All right, so that settled that. But they said, well, what's in the house? I said, I got some old fun, antique fun stuff in the house. And I had it locked. They said, well, let me in. You don't let me in, I'll kick the door in. I said, you ain't got to kick the door in my house for what? And then I said, I owe me for it. So they peep in there. They left. And then about 2 weeks later, I got a letter. He said, we're going to charge you $5,000. So I went on down there. I told you, I demolished it myself. I came here to y'all court, and y'all told me y'all give me about a month to do it. So I ordered a backhoe. I had the partner work at the cane pad. He said, well, it'll cost you about $300 a day for rent it. He said, best thing I can give you a week for you for $1,100. I said, okay, $1,100, cool. So I got it. We tore down the house for you. I ordered 40-yard container in the 30-yard. And I cleaned it up 4 times. I ran there and told him. And then he said, he had told me I could keep my garage. Y'all had told me too. Then that thing I know, just said, well, I don't give you a week to tear your Gerard down. I about could put 3 cars in it. So I mean, got about 4 or 5 men. You know, we tore it down. And then I had all my stuff sitting on the patio. So I went to the clinic on Wednesday, you know. And when I come back home by 9, he over there and I done tore down everything, moved the ground off. And he hired Cherry, you know, contractor up in Houston. They were over there loading all my stuff, bending it up. So I ain't even want to see it. I just jumped in my car and left. And then later on, he write me a letter. See, I owe him $5,000. I said, man, I don't have that kind of money. I done spent $1,100 for the backhoe, about $500 for 3 dumpsters. And then I said, man, you know you wrong. Look like you kind of take something. He said, well, you ain't got to pay the $5,000 all at once. You can pay it like you want. You know there. For what? Getting food around there? I said, I better go and pay it. I'll pay $100, $200 at a time. Oh, yeah, you add up about $1,800 some dollars. And then he said, well, that's a nice prop you got. I said, yeah, I know it, you know. I said, but I ain't got nothing to give you, man. You taking something. I done did all the work, you know. All right, I think that's it. You know, but God took care of that, though.
I know we've got an item. We're going to talk about your situation here in a little bit as well.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll move on to item 7, consent agenda. The following items are considered routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will not be a separate discussion on these items unless a council member requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and discussed after the consent agenda.
Move to approve.
So motion to approve the consent agenda by Councilman Simpson, a second by Councilman Linton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to item 8, public hearing and action items from public hearing. Item 8A, conduct a public hearing concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from conventional residential zoning district to general commercial zoning district for approximately plus or minus 0.63 acres, generally located north of Park Street, approximately plus or minus 175 feet west of Dickinson Avenue, legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, sir, part of Lot 6, 6-14, Nichols Addition. We will convene this public hearing at 7:37 p.m. and we'll begin with the staff presentation.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. This property is located, hold on just a second. There we go. This property is located on the north side of Park Street. It's also kind of where Dickinson Avenue and 517 hit. It's currently zoned residential, conventional residential, and the request is to zone it general commercial. Not a specific project at this point, but they own the adjacent piece. So they're wanting to rezone the whole thing as general commercial to develop commercially there. And that's all that staff has.
All right, thank you. Do we have an applicant presentation?
She stepped out for a second, so. she's not here.
We'll press on. If we have questions on that, we can go for it. All right, there are no public comments. There's no applicant rebuttal, so we will adjourn this public hearing at 7:38 p.m. and move on to item 8B, consideration and possible action concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from conventional residential zoning district to general commercial zoning district for approximately plus or minus 0.63 acres, generally located north of Park Street, approximately 175 feet west of Dickinson Avenue, legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, sir, part of Lot 6, 6-14, Nichols Addition. Is there a motion to approve? Motion approved by Councilman Simpson. Is there a second?
A second.
A second by Councilman Linton. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take this to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to item 8C, conduct a public hearing concerning a request for a specific, it's usually special use permit, it's specific. For a specific use permit for automotive sales, new or used, leasing, service, and repair shops, including auto body workshops in an interstate commercial zoning district for approximately plus or minus 0.92 acres located at 2801 Gulf Freeway and legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, sir, Res A 0-1 JB King sub replat number 1 and approximately plus or minus 1.69 acres unaddressed property generally located at Gulf Freeway approximately 200 feet south of Sunset Drive and legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, Sir, Res B 0-2, JB King, sub-replat number 1. We will convene this public hearing at 7:40 p.m. and we'll start with the staff presentation.
This property is located on the southeast corner of Gulf Freeway and Sunset Drive. What is being proposed here is auto sale shop. It's actually part of Gay Family Auto. They're looking at doing a Kia. It's currently zoned interstate commercial. They have submitted a site plan. It has not been reviewed for compliance with city ordinances. Right now, they're just looking at the zoning for the use, and they did also provide some renderings of what the development may look like. That's all that staff has.
All right, thank you. Do we have any applicant presentation this evening? If you want, you don't have to, but if you'd like. Okay. Understood. We have no public comments on this, so no applicant rebuttal. So we will adjourn the public hearing at 7:41 p.m. And we'll move on to item 8D, consideration and possible action concerning a request for a specific use permit for automotive sales, new or used, leasing, service, and repair shops, including auto body workshops and interstate commercial zoning district for approximately 0.92 acres located at 2801 Gulf Freeway and legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, Sir, Res A 0-1, JB King, sub-replat number 1, and approximately plus or minus 1.69 acres unaddressed property generally located east of Gulf Freeway, approximately 200 feet south of Sunset Drive, and legally described as Abstract 19, Perry and Austin, Sir, Res B 0-2, JB King, sub-replat number 1.
Move to approve with conditions.
Okay, there's a motion. Okay. I say there's a motion to approve by Councilman Simpson with conditions
That are
The ones
recommended
listed in the packet is what you
in
mean.
the
Okay.
report.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Councilman Decker. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take this to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we will then move on to item 8E. Conduct a public hearing concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from conventional residential zoning district to general commercial zoning district for the approximately plus or minus 0.59 acres generally located west of Highway 3, approximately plus or minus 550 feet north of Hughes Road, legally described as Abstract 208, West Wilson, Sir, Track 25-1, 0.5950 acres. We will convene the public hearing at 7:42 p.m. and begin with the staff presentation. Long time no see.
This property is on the south side of Highway 3. It is just north of the DFW, and the request is to zone it from conventional residential to general commercial. And that is all that staff has.
Thank you. Do we have an applicant presentation? If you'd like, you can. If not, that's fine too. All right, come on up. If you'd give us your name and your address for the record, please.
Hello, I'm Cindy Taylor. Address is 5200 Highway 3 here in Dickinson. And we have future plans to build something. We don't have anything exactly as of right now. We just want to take the first step and make that little sliver like the rest and do commercial.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have no public comments for this item and no need for applicant rebuttal, so we will adjourn to public hearing at 7:43 p.m. And we'll move on to item 8F, consideration and possible action concerning a request to amend the official zoning map from conventional residential zoning district to general commercial zoning district for the approximately 0.59 acres generally located west of Highway 3, approximately plus or minus 550 feet north of Hughes Road, legally described as Abstract 208, West Wilson, Sir, Track 25-1, 0.5950 acres.
Move to approve.
Motion approved by Councilman Brantley, second by Councilman Wilson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll take this to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, we will move on to item 9, action items for consideration. Item 9A, consideration and possible action to approve a resolution of the City Council of the City of Dickinson, Texas, authorizing the city manager to execute a release of lien for the property located at 2608 Highway 3, Dickinson, Texas. Is there a motion to approve? So motion approved by Councilman Simpson, a second by Councilman Wilson. Is there any discussion on this? Questions, anything? All right.
I know that Chase did want to make a couple
Oh, sure.
of
If you'd like to make
comments.
it, I apologize. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just to clarify a little bit about what Mr. Williams spoke about during public comments. In 2016, the city received demolition orders to tear down Mr. Williams' home. Being that Mr. Williams has experience in demolitions, the city allowed him to do the work himself, basically. He rented a backhoe and dumpsters so he wouldn't have to pay the $6,000 that they were threatening him with. He received permission to keep his garage, his possessions, which the city returned when he was gone and threw away everything that he owned. Then they made it clear to him that he had to tear down the garage and placed a lien on his property for good measure. And mind you, I don't know who gave these orders for this lien. I won't speculate on the intentions of these individuals. None of us were here at that time, and that's not why I'm speaking tonight. But let's think about this for a second. He tore down his own home, and still a lien was placed on his property for the cost associated with the demolition, of which he's paid $1,940 towards this unjust lien. I don't think I have to spell this out for anybody here tonight. This is wrong, so wrong in so many ways. And to Mr. Williams' credit, he never once yelled, cursed, or acted disrespectfully to anyone at any time when he had every right to do so. Mr. Williams, on behalf of the city of Dickinson, I sincerely apologize to you. It appears that all levels of government have failed you miserably, and I'm so sorry for that. You deserve so much better. I've been told this once, and I believe it to be true, that we can't change the past, but we can make things right when we are faced with wrong. And that's why I'm speaking tonight. Mr. Melanson and I are asking that the city council consider releasing this baseless and unjust lien. And I would ask that we reimburse Mr. Williams the $1,940 that he's already paid towards the lien. Mr. Williams, would you like to speak?
I appreciate it. You know, God sent me to Mr. Craig. I talked to him. Then he told me he could help me. So he did about it in a week time. He called my sister, told me to come down there. I came down there. He told me, he said, Mr. Williams, I can help you. And then he said, let me introduce you to my boss man. That's him right there. And then we know how we talked. He said, yeah, Mr. Williams, we're going to help you. I said, I so thank you and appreciate it. I said, the Lord sent me to y'all. I said, Mr. Jeff and Mr. Ray weren't no good. All right, thank you, both of y'all.
Well,
Mayor?
and I'd like to add real quick, Chase. So I know that you've worked on this, and it's very obvious you're very passionate about this. And I'd actually say that for those of you that don't know, Chase is about this passionate about many things that he does. Maybe this one a little more so, but Chase really does a good job when there's an issue with the resident to try to work cases like this, and he takes it very, very seriously. And you do a great job, and I appreciate you advocating for Mr. Williams.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
These two nice men y'all put in place. I appreciate it.
Well, good. Hey, thank you, sir. Councilman Simpson.
I'd like to amend my motion to include the reimbursement.
All right. And who had seconded that one? Was it?
I'll second.
Was it Wilson had seconded? Would you okay with that change? Okay.
Quick question.
Yes,
Oh, wait,
yes,
I'll wait
Councilman.
for your discussion.
Yeah, we're discussion. Go ahead.
Was this holding up? Because I remember Mr. Williams is also a part of the management district property swap. Is this holding that up as well?
No, sir.
Okay.
Well, so he's been waiting 6 years as well for his GLO home to be constructed. And we finally have permits pulled now, and his house will be constructed. But yes, sir, that's how I met Mr. Williams in the first place, was because of the property swap. But he's good to go.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Brantley, you had a
Yeah,
comment.
I have a question. Chase, before you take off, I have a question. Well, I actually have a comment and a question. First off, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for your integrity. Thank you for standing up the way you did. It's obviously you're very emotional about this, and it takes great courage to stand up here as you have with your employer and call us out when we're wrong. So thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
Secondly, we mentioned the lien, releasing the lien, and paying back what he's paid towards the lien.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. Can you go into a little bit about the situation, because you mentioned unjustly tearing down his house? Can you expound on that a little bit more?
Sure.
I have, and I'm going somewhere
the
with that.
Yeah. So the demolition orders were done correctly. That was appropriate. The issue here is whenever they allowed him on a side deal to tear down his house, he rented the backhoe, he rented the dumpsters, he paid all that money, and then they still put this lien on top of his property.
Yeah. So,
And
so
that's the real issue.
yeah. So what you end up running into is that most of the work had already been done. They had quoted what the cost of demolition was going to be, but the majority of that work had actually been done by Mr. Williams, and they just slapped the entire $5,990 something as if they had done the work, and that work had not been done
Right.
by the city. It was that most of it had been done by Mr. Williams.
And
Now
so-
there were some things that they did have to do, but it was not the full amount. But they just slapped the entire amount that was quoted to do the entire demolition onto a lien.
Right. Yeah, and he paid the money to rent the backhoes, to rent the dumpsters. So I mean, it's even more what he put into it. Yes, sir.
Are we at liberty to do more than what we're done?
I'm sorry.
Are we at liberty to do more? Seems like he's out more money.
I mean, without itemization, I mean, I think today what Mr. Williams is requesting is the lien to be released and the $1,940 be reimbursed to him. Of course, the question becomes, proof of cost and things of that nature. I don't know if we necessarily, it'd have to be something that I'd have to look further into, but I just don't have that in front of me right now.
Have that for like auditing purposes. et
Yes,
cetera,
absolutely,
too.
100%. Yes.
Yeah. Councilman Brantley, do you have something else or?
Nope, Chase, I fully support you.
Thank you.
All right. So just to be clear, the motion on the floor is to release the lien and refund the sum of, is it
1,940.
940. Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. With that, we'll move on to item 10, executive session. Item 10A, consultation with attorney, section 551.071 Texas Government Code. Discussion with attorney regarding contemplated pending litigation and regarding matters protected by attorney-client privilege. And item 10B, Texas Open Meetings Act, section 551.074 Government Code, personnel matters. Consideration and possible action concerning the employment, appointment, removal, or evaluation of a public officer, employee, to wit, police chief. We will adjourn into executive session at 7:52 p.m. We'll reconvene from executive session at 9:09 PM and move on to item 11, action items from executive session. Item 11A, consideration and possible action concerning matters discussed in executive session. Actually, we'll turn this over to our city manager who will make an appointment.
Mayor, council, thank you for this opportunity. As our charter states, the city manager is to appoint a candidate to become the chief of police to then be approved by the city council. This was a very tough decision. We went through numerous candidates. We had several people with prior police chief experience, large department captain, large department assistant chiefs and deputy chiefs. At the end of the day, there were clearly three candidates that really kind of stood out, and so we really worked really hard to whittle that down. And the appointment that I'm bringing forth to you stood out for multiple reasons, but one of the most important ones was something that I requested of any external candidate was how this person was going to grow a department, to work with the leadership in place, to work with our officers in place, how that person would be bringing their own experience into this organization. And I want to take a moment to thank our interim chief, Oscar Stoker, because the last 7 months of his service was greatly needed, and he stepped in and did amazing work. And one of the things that we are going to work on with this appointment is to ensure that interim Chief Stoker is clearly designated as the number 2 in command of the police department, and to continue growing in professional development. And that appointment that I have for you this evening is Michael Berezin, current police chief of Missouri City, who brings 34 years of service in law enforcement. He's also cross-trained in other public safety service as well. He has worked with the Missouri City Police Department from a patrol officer all the way up to the chief role. He is a recognized leader by many chiefs around the state. His recommendations and commendations from chiefs in the region were outstanding. I would also say that he has, through the entire interview process, shown a care for Dickinson. He grew up in Texas City, Lamarck, and graduated from high school here before he moved off to Fort Bend County to begin his police service. So he's very familiar with our community. And like I said, what really struck a chord with me was his willingness to work with our department, to grow our department, to bring professional development to the next level for the department. And that is including a very valued asset and person for our community. And that's our interim chief, Oscar Stoker, as well. So with that, I'd like to maybe open up the floor to Police Chief Michael Berezin to speak to the council and give a public address, if you'd have a moment.
You bet. Mayor and council, thank you for the confidence, and Theo, thank you also for the confidence that you're obviously showing in me. I promise you that your department, this city, will be the department for the community, not anything different. It's a privilege and an honor to serve any city, and it will certainly be a privilege and honor to serve you all. I've already expressed my sentiments to the POA and the other members of the police department back here behind me that none of them work for me. They work for themselves, their personal pride and integrity, and the citizens of Dickinson. They don't work for me. I get the privilege and honor to lead them, and we're going to do an outstanding job. They're already doing an outstanding job. The community actually absolutely loves them. Oscar's going to do an amazing job. We've already shared cell phone numbers, so we're going to start working right away, even though I technically cannot come on board until June. The Texas Municipal Retirement System will flip their lid if I did that. Not to mention that beautiful lady sitting back there that walked in with me would also flip her lid if I mess up my retirement benefits. But I really, really look forward to serving you all. This department's going to go farther and faster than you've ever imagined. And I promise you, when I walk away one of these days, it'll be better than I found it. I promise you that. So, and again, thank you so much for your confidence. Thank you, sir.
At this time, do we have a motion to accept the appointment from the city manager?
I move to accept the recommendation of the city manager for the police chief.
All right, there's a motion by Councilman Wilson. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a second by Councilman Decker. Is there any discussion? Councilman Brantley?
Yes, please. I just have a couple of things. Chief Barrison, pleasure to meet you. I do want to say a couple of things about Interim Chief Oscar Stoker. Over the past couple of months, I've had the opportunity to get to know Chief Stoker pretty well. And I have found that Chief Stoker is he's a heck of a man. He has, in a very short amount of time, Chief Stoker's made me better. I admire his character, and you have done a fantastic job shepherding this police department in this time. So I know that our police officers, top to bottom, have been through a lot. I appreciate you, Theo, for the process that you put together to find what I think ends up being excellent leadership for our officers, because they deserve it. They've been through a lot. Interim Chief Stoker, thank you for everything you've done. Chief Barrison, look forward to working with you. And I know you'll do a great job. So thank you.
Is there any other discussion, comments? I'd also like to echo the job that Chief Stoker did. He took over, very, very quickly, stepped in, always found him very responsive. I know I forwarded several issues to you, personally, and I received great feedback from the residents and all of that. And it just speaks to your service that you've done and always done, and I hope we'll continue to do in the department. And so thank you as well for all that you've done. I'm also excited about what the future can hold for the department, and I think we've done a very thorough search from everything I've seen, and I agree with Councilman Brantley that I think exciting things are in store, and we're going to move on ahead here. Are there any other comments, questions? Hearing none, we'll take this to a vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so congratulations. Welcome aboard. And I also like to point out to thank so many members of the police department that showed up this evening. Thank you for all that you do for the community, and thank you for being here. So, and thank you for playing a part in the selection process as well, the interview process. So, your input was very, very important, obviously, to what the city manager ended up doing. So, with that, we'll move on to item 12, adjournment. It's motion adjourned by Councilman Wilson, a second by Councilman Decker. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned at 9:18 p.m.